That's not what I meant. Caleb was shocked. He often heard his mentor talking about the weirdo Barney from the medical association. Obviously, he was well aware of Barney's abilities. Let's drop this matter. Your father could even threaten us with his life, so I don't think it matters if he's back for Christmas or not. There was no need to ruin everyone's mood because of him. You should go first. I'll call Sophie, said Josiah. Sophie is a smart and observant girl. I bet she knew what Caleb meant as soon as Caleb brought this up. Sophie was someone who couldn't care less about people who weren't sincere toward her. Even if it were her own brother, she would do the same. Okay. Caleb didn't say anything else and went downstairs straight away. When Charmaine saw him come downstairs, she couldn't help but sigh. Caleb, you just got home, so you should rest well. You don't have to bother yourself with those matters. Back then, when Caleb wasn't around, Charmaine saw Yale's men take Josiah away and also saw the way Yale climbed upstairs to threaten his family, saying that he'd jump off the building if they disagreed with him. Besides, she also saw how he pathetically got down the stairs when his threat didn't work. Caleb frowned. Mom, you've been married to Dad for so many years. Are you going to stay out of this, too? Charmaine was exasperated. You know that I've never had the right to say anything in this household. What do you expect me to say? It was true that she couldn't say anything regarding that matter. You guys should eat. I'm going to talk to Dad. Caleb and Yale had always been close. Therefore, Caleb felt bad about his father being out there all alone. Caleb, I'll go with you. I miss Dad too, Willow said, standing up immediately after hearing what Caleb said. We're going to start eating soon. Your grandpa won't be happy if all of you leave. Charmaine was frustrated. What do I do with them? They're really a handful. I don't feel like eating, so I'll pass. Let's go, Willa. He still had a few questions that he wanted to ask his father in person. Charmaine's expression soured when she saw Caleb and Willow leave the dining hall. I should leave and go shopping too. Otherwise, Dad will get mad again when he comes downstairs and sees no one here. At that moment, Josiah and Sophie had already gotten downstairs and saw that Charmaine was the only one in the dining hall. As expected, Josiah's face darkened. However, he didn't say anything. Instead, he walked to his seat and sat down. Let's sit and eat, Josiah said. He picked up his fork and was ready to dig in. Sophie sat next to him and put some food on his plate. Grandpa, this dish looks tasty. You should eat more. Sophie didn't mind Caleb and Willow's absence since she didn't like them in the first place. The food tastes better when they're not around. Josiah put a big drumstick on Sophie's plate. Here, eat this. Actually, Josiah also hoped they could celebrate Christmas as a family, but now it seemed it was impossible. It's better that Caleb doesn't return. Now everyone's unhappy. Charmaine was hesitant to speak as she sat at the other side of the table. Facing such a situation at home, she had no idea what else she could say. But we're family. Do we really have to carry on like this? Dad, why don't we let Yale come back for Christmas? We're family, aren't we? We shouldn't let things go on like this. No matter how terrible Yale was, he was still the head of the household. This family isn't whole when the head isn't around. Josiah slammed his fork on the table. What's wrong with all of you? Caleb doesn't know what Yale did, but don't you know? Why bother asking him to come back when he's done something as horrible as that? Morgan quickly brought Josiah's medicine over when he saw how angry the old man had gotten. Old Mr. Tanner, here. Take your meds. Calm down. Sophie took the medicine from Morgan and poured a glass of water for Josiah. The old man then swallowed his pill. Grandpa, don't be mad. It's not good for your health, Sophie said exasperatedly. This mess is so annoying. Dad, I know you're very angry about this matter, but if this goes on, the Tanner family will be a joke in Gypsdale. I can't even go out without feeling humiliated now because the public would gossip about me whenever I'm out. The room fell silent. Charmaine's life only ended up that way because she cared too much about what others said and did. That's it. I'm full. It was as if Josiah didn't hear what Charmaine said. He got up and went upstairs. Sophie took his arm and ascended the stairs with him. With that, only Charmaine was left in the dining room. Was I wrong? I have the family's best interest at heart. Why can't anyone understand me? Once Sophie brought Josiah to his room to rest, she sat on his bed and accompanied him. Josiah's heart ached when he saw her like that. No one can understand her, right? She's still so young. But because of me, an old man who has a foot in the grave, she has to bear all of this burden in the Tanner family. I'm sorry, Sophie. It's all my fault. If he hadn't insisted on asking her to return, she didn't need to bear all those. She held his hand. I don't mind it, Grandpa. I really don't care what others say. Why are you so tough when you're still so young? It breaks my heart. He was truly heartbroken and felt bad for Sophie. Grandpa, all that matters is that you're okay. Leave the rest to me, all right? Okay. She's just a minor. But how did she become so tough that even an old dying man like me can rely on her? You should take a nap. I need to go to Transfix Cosmetics in the afternoon. Once I come home, I'll bring you out for delicious food, okay? Let's not eat at home today. Okay. Remember to ask Mr. Tristan to join us. It's been ages since I last ate with him. I guess Mr. Tristan's the only person who can protect Sophie well. Okay. I'll invite Tristan. Grandpa, don't call him Mr. Tristan anymore in the future. Just call him Tanny. You're my grandpa, so you have the right to call him that. Josiah raised his eyebrows. Does that mean you like Tanny? Sophie's young, but it's good that she can have someone to rely on. Sophie fell into deep thought for a while because she didn't expect Josiah to gossip. She then tilted her head and said, I can't say for sure yet. That depends on his performance. Ah, that makes sense. Although Tanny is amazing, our Sophie isn't someone who can be trifled with. My granddaughter is the most fantastic person in the world, so she deserves the best. Grandpa, I have to go to Transfix Cosmetics now. Okay. Go on. Be careful. Sophie went straight to Transfix Cosmetics after she left Josiah's room. The current Transfix Cosmetics was a stark contrast to the previous one that had almost gone bankrupt. Whoever stepped into the headquarters would be impressed with the confident smile on everyone's face. Evidently, they were proud of Transfix Cosmetics at the moment. No words could describe how touched Sophie was at that very moment. In her eyes, everything was wonderful. On top of that, she was relatively satisfied with everyone's current condition. Oh, Ms. Sophie, you're here. Wendy dashed toward Sophie excitedly the moment she caught sight of the latter. They had been busy as bees lately, especially Wilma, who focused on developing new products. Yeah. Where's Ms. Leinker? Sophie went straight to the point. Wendy is undoubtedly an adorable young lady. Ms. Leinker went to the Research and Development Department. Ms. Sophie, how about you go back to your office first? I'll ask her to come over and meet you now. Wendy presumed Sophie must be there for an urgent matter. It's all right. I'll wait in her office. Just tell her to come and meet me after she settles her matters. Sophie turned her down nicely. After all, her matter was not an urgent one. Thus, she did not mind waiting for Wilma to settle her matters first. Okay. With that, Sophie headed straight to Wilma's office. The latter's secretary opened the door for her when she saw her. Ms. Sophie, please take a seat. I'll make coffee for you now. She greeted Sophie courteously. I heard Ms. Sophie likes coffee. That's why Ms. Leinker bought the premium coffee powder specifically for her. It's all right. Just carry on with your current task, and don't be bothered by me. Sophie did not intend to trouble anyone. Sure, Ms. Sophie. Nonetheless, Wilma's secretary still served her a cup of coffee before she was back to her work again. While seated in Wilma's office, Sophie had nothing to do. She suddenly recalled that Josiah requested to have a meal with Tristan and gave the latter a call at once. The phone had barely rung 3 times before Tristan answered the call. "You miss me already?" In an instant, his seductive voice sounded from the other end of the line. Sophie could not help rolling her eyes at his sheer confidence. "Humph. I only gave him a call. What makes him think that I miss him? My grandpa wishes to invite you for dinner tonight, so I'm checking if you are free. It's all right if you're busy. I can just tell him." Knowing that Tristan had a tight schedule, she tried to reassure him that it was fine if he could not make it. "It's not a problem," Tristan gladly replied. If others intended to have a meal with him, he would reject them at once. However, since that particular person was the one Sophie cared about the most, it would never be a problem for him, regardless of how busy he was. Really? Sophie doubted if he was being truthful. Of course. Why? Don't you believe my words? Sophie was rendered speechless. Despite how busy we are, we can't skip meals. Since I need to eat, I won't have a problem accompanying old Mr. Tanner for dinner. Sophie replied briefly with a hum. Where are you now? Transfix Cosmetics. How about this? I'll go over to fetch you after you have settled your matter in Transfix Cosmetics. After that, we'll go to fetch your grandpa together. Sure. After hanging up, Sophie fell into a trance as she stared at the phone screen. Apparently, Tristan accommodates me a lot. As the thought occurred to her, her heart ached. Actually, he doesn't have to do so. It must be tiring for him to tolerate me all the time. The moment Wilma was back from the research and development department, she caught sight of Sophie sitting there, lost in her thought. Sophie is indeed a beautiful young lady. Even if she's deep in her thought like this, I can't resist approaching her to find out what's playing on her mind. Is something bugging her? Ms. Sophie. Initially, Wilma did not think of breaking Sophie's reverie too soon. However, she still greeted the latter after a while. Oh, you're back. Have you settled your matters in the research and development department? Are there any problems? Ms. Sophie, you can rely on me at work. There aren't any problems, and I have sorted everything out. Next, Wilma handed the latest proposal to Sophie so she could browse through it. Sophie flipped through a few pages and was utterly pleased with Wilma's work. You've done it well. I trust you very much. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put you in charge of Transfix Cosmetics. Thanks for trusting me. I promise to do my best. Undeniably, whoever works for Ms. Sophie doesn't need to think much about other matters. As long as a person is competent, they'll have the opportunity to showcase their skills. In short, Wilma was thankful to have met Sophie, who had a good eye for her talent and competence. Wilma was undoubtedly talented in cosmetics, and she only lacked an opportunity before that. Well, as Christmas is around the corner, I'm here today to wish everyone a happy holiday in advance. Can you help me ask around if anyone plans to be back in their hometown for the coming holiday? For those who can't grab their bus tickets, ask them to travel by plane instead. I'll sponsor their air tickets. Ms. Sophie. Wilma was stupefied. It never crossed her mind that Sophie would have such a mindset. After all, Ms. Sophie is barely 18 years old. By right, young ones like her won't think much about going home for a holiday. I'm impressed with her thoughtfulness for the employees of Transfix Cosmetics. Wouldn't everyone talk about going home for a holiday whenever it's Christmas? In truth, Sophie was in the group chat for Transfix Cosmetics employees. Thus, she came across them discussing their difficulty in buying bus tickets online the day before. Many of them could not get any. It's true that they're facing this problem. However, the company has never done anything. Not only Transfix Cosmetics but even those employees from Tanner Group also did not have such a privilege. Book air or train tickets for everyone. Don't worry about the money. I'll pay for it. Wilma's eyes were red with tears when she stepped out of her office. At the sight of her teary eyes, the others thought Sophie had reprimanded her. Ms. Leinker, don't be upset. I reckon Ms. Sophie just has a higher expectation for you. I agree with you. Ms. Sophie might look aloof, but she's undoubtedly a nice person. The other employees hummed agreeably. Wilma was utterly pleased when they spoke up for Sophie. Ms. Sophie didn't scold me. Oh, right. She asked everyone to book air or train tickets directly, and she'll sponsor everyone. In an instant, the others were caught off guard and bereft of speech. Really? There's no discount on air tickets during the festive season. Of course. Right that instant, Sophie appeared with a bag in her hand. Ms. Sophie. Everyone greeted her in unison the moment they saw her. Sophie walked toward them, flashing them a smile. Everyone, I know you've put in a lot of effort lately. It'll be the year-end holiday soon. Hence, I would like to wish everyone Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. Let's continue to work hard next year. The next moment, she whipped out the envelopes containing monetary gifts and distributed them to everyone. It's just a small token of appreciation. I hope all of you don't mind. Wilma was flabbergasted. In actuality, Sophie had already given them their year-end bonus. In fact, it was the biggest bonus they had ever received from Transfix Cosmetics. Is she giving everyone monetary gifts too? The other young ladies gazed at Sophie with reverence after receiving the monetary gifts from her. Ms. Sophie is incredibly generous. In the meantime, Tristan had set off to fetch Sophie from Transfix Cosmetics after settling his work matters. Coincidentally, he saw Sophie surrounded by a group of young ladies as she stepped out of the building. Seeing that Sophie was well liked by the employees, Tristan was delighted. My Sophie is awesome. She can cope well with everything. Ms. Sophie, will you be attending tomorrow night's annual party? They knew Sophie had a busy schedule, so they had been afraid to tell her about it since they had no idea if she would be attending it. Tomorrow night? Yeah, tomorrow night. Everyone had been busy and working hard for the whole year. We'll be performing a little at the annual party tomorrow. You don't have to come if you're tied up. I'll make sure the event goes smoothly. I see. I'm aware of tomorrow's annual party, but will everyone be able to enjoy themselves with me there? You have to come, Ms. Sophie. To be honest, we're all hoping you would, Wendy said after gathering her courage. They knew Sophie only seemed cold on the outside, but she was actually a really nice person. Nonetheless, sometimes they still need to gather their courage to talk to her. All right, send me the address, and I'll go tomorrow night. I should attend since it's a company event. Really? Wendy's heart leaped with joy. Sophie's lips curved into a smile after seeing their excitement. Her smile stayed on her lips until she got into Tristan's car. You seem very happy being with them. Wilma is pretty good at what she does. The team she leads is also united. In truth, even if they're all already in their 20s, they're still very innocent. Their happiness is so simple. Personally, I like a simple life. Tristan made a U-turn and said, You're making it seem as though your life has a lot of complications. Isn't she the youngest? Why does she overthink so much? Well, it's not overly complicated but not excessively simple either. All you have to do is stay happy and lead a simple life when you're by my side. Leave the rest to me. Thank you. I know he means what he says. Tristan pulled into the Tanner residence's driveway. They found Caleb and Willow watching television on the couch the minute they entered the living room. It was Caleb's first meeting with Tristan. This man gives out a pressuring aura. Despite seeing Caleb and Willow sitting there, Sophie didn't introduce Tristan to either of them. She led Tristan up the stairs, straight to Josiah's room. Who is the guy with Sophie? He doesn't look like an average person. Some people carry themselves like nobility. That's how that man carries himself. Jealousy gripped Willow at the mention of Tristan. Tristan Lombard. Willow didn't want to elaborate further since it would only serve as a reminder of her failure and Sophie's success. Naturally, she didn't want to talk much about it. Who is he exactly? Despite spending most of his time at a research institute overseas, Caleb had still heard of the infamous Mr. Tristan during his time there. However, he couldn't believe that Tristan would end up with Sophie. Caleb, I suspect Sophie had drugged Mr. Tristan. How else would a man like him fall for a girl like her? Honestly, I don't believe it. So, he's truly Mr. Tristan. Even my tutors overseas knew not to mess with Mr. Tristan of Gypsdale. Would Sophie slander father for the Tanner family's assets? It's meager compared to Tristan's wealth. Yeah, Sophie is really lucky. She can hook up with a man everywhere she goes. She's a born vixen, that girl. Willow had never considered herself lesser than Sophie. However, everyone around her was starting to treat her worse and Sophie better. That difference in treatment was fueling her resentment toward Sophie. Caleb didn't know how to comfort her. Willow has always been the good and obedient one. Yet Grandpa's favorite has always been Sophie. That's an undeniable fact. I noticed Mother's attitude toward Willow has also changed. She isn't as close to Willow anymore. Caleb, are you listening to me? Are you on Sophie's side too? Irritation filled Willow at Caleb's attitude. Willow, Sophie is your sister no matter what. You shouldn't talk about her that way. So he's also on her side? It looks like I'm all on my own in this house. I'll talk to Sophie about Dad's matter when I'm free. Don't worry about it. Caleb didn't know what to do with the current Sophie. He didn't have a single clue about how to deal with the situation. Sophie and Tristan came down the stairs with Josiah behind them. Seeing Josiah leaving with them, Caleb went up to him. Are you going out in such cold weather, Grandpa? It's almost dinner time too. Mom already made dinner. What? Only you guys can go out, and I can't? I want to have dinner outside today. What can you do about it? Do you have a problem with that? Josiah was still mad about Willow and Caleb leaving the house without informing him earlier. Caleb brushed his nose with his finger, knowing he was in the wrong. We didn't mean anything by it, Grandpa. We hadn't seen Dad in a while and just wanted to visit him. Don't overthink things. We're a family. Why can't we discuss our problems nicely? Josiah snorted and didn't answer Caleb's question. Let's go. Aren't we going out for dinner? Sophie drew closer to Josiah at his question. Do you need me to go with you, old Mr. Tanner? The weather outside doesn't seem great. Nevertheless, I think it's great that he's going out for some fresh air to improve his mood. That's fine. You must have been tired of taking care of me every day for the past few days. Have a good rest tonight. Josiah considered Morgan as a family member or close friend of his. I don't feel tired taking care of you, old Mr. Tanner. I'm all alone now in this world. I would probably be living a lonely life if it wasn't for old Mr. Tanner's sentimentality. I'll remember his kindness for the rest of my life and promise to take good care of him no matter the cost. Why don't you come with us if you have nothing going on, Morgan? The more, the merrier. Moreover, Grandpa will have someone to talk to with Morgan by his side. Josiah was happy with Sophie's invitation. Sophie had always been respectful of the household staff. More importantly, Josiah had never treated Morgan as a mere employee. They were like a family that had fought on a battlefield together. I can go too. Morgan looked at Sophie with anticipation. Sure you can. They left the Tanner residence as a quartet. Isn't she good at playing the nice guy? Did you see that, Caleb? Sophie excels at playing mind games. She knew Grandpa cared for Morgan the most. That was why she invited him to dinner too. Have you ever seen her invite any of the other household staff before? Willow, Morgan is someone important to Grandpa. Grandpa has never treated him like a member of the household staff. Don't think like that. Grandpa won't be happy if he hears you talking about Morgan like that. Caleb, a household staff will always be a household staff. Grandpa has really lost his mind with his age. Willow disagreed with treating a household staff as part of the family. She did not feel that a household staff had the right to be her family. Caleb pursed his lips in response. He knew that Willow had always been full of herself, but he never expected her to bear such thoughts despite how Morgan had watched her grow up. Willow. Caleb started about to say something else. Knowing that he was going to say something she hated to hear, Willow jumped to her feet. Caleb, I've asked my classmate to hang out with me, so I won't be home for the meal. Enjoy your meal with Mom. Bye. With that said, Willow scurried off. Soon, Caleb was the only one left in the living room. He could finally understand what it was like to be his grandfather, alone in the afternoon when he and Willow were not around. It was indeed a sad feeling. Tristan had arranged the meal to be held at Blossom Garden. After all, Blossom Garden was a famous spot in Gypsdale. After arriving at Blossom Garden, Sophie went to the restroom. Only Tristan, Josiah, and Morgan remained in the private room. Initially, Morgan did not want to sit with them. He was already satisfied with how he could follow Josiah to Blossom Garden and take care of him. However, Tristan and Sophie had both asked him to take a seat, and so he did as they said. "Grandpa, who made you upset?" Tristan asked, having noticed Josiah's foul mood when he picked him up. At the mention of that, Josiah's expression darkened, thinking Caleb had crossed the line. Regardless of everything, the matter was the Tanner family's affair. No matter how terrible Caleb was, he was still his grandson. Therefore, Josiah did not wish to tell Tristan about it. "It's nothing, Tanny. As long as Sophie and you are good, I'm happy. You really have to take good care of our Sophie." Josiah knew how difficult life was for Sophie in the family. Even though she had older siblings, her siblings never once cared about her. They only knew to request things from her, and they never reflected on their actions. "Don't worry, old Mr. Tanner. As long as I'm by her side, I won't let anyone upset her," Tristan promised. Josiah beamed at his reply. "Very well. I like you very much. Although Sophie's a hard girl to court, trust me, you won't regret being together with her." "She's a good girl," Josiah said, for he was particularly doting on Sophie. "Okay, I understand." Sophie had never let him down, after all. Once Sophie was back, she took a seat beside Josiah. By then, the dishes were served. The food made by Blossom Garden was naturally the best, and Sophie wasted no time taking some for Josiah. "Dig in, Grandpa." Josiah smiled and nodded. Morgan had initially intended to stay by Josiah's side to take care of him, but it seemed like his help was unneeded, for Tristan and Sophie were by his side. At the sight of that, Morgan was happy for Josiah. Out of the 3 children in the Tanner family, Sophie was the most dutiful one. She truly answered every request Josiah made. "Morgan, you should dig in too." Sophie knew Morgan was sincerely nice to Josiah, so she had always respected the man. "Okay, let's all dig in," Morgan replied with a smile, glad about the harmonious atmosphere. The 4 of them finished their food merrily. "I need to use the restroom." "Wait for me." Josiah had eaten too much, so he needed to use the restroom. "Grandpa, let me accompany you there." "It's fine. It's not like I'm a kid. I'm just using the restroom, so you don't need to come along." "Sit down, Morgan. I can go there myself." "You don't need to come with me too." Josiah refused to admit that his old age came with disadvantages, for he felt fine. "Okay. Be careful. Call me right away if you need any help." They were in Blossom Garden, a place they frequented. Thus, the employees at Blossom Garden all knew them. There would be no issue for Josiah to walk to the restroom himself. With that, Josiah chuckled and left the room. Once he was out of the restroom and had washed his hands, he turned, about to go back to Sophie and the others. However, he accidentally bumped into someone. "Sorry." Josiah was about to apologize when he registered the familiar face in front of him. "It's you, Waylon." Waylon Lackraft was Josiah's comrade from the past. Unlike Josiah, who retired from the army because of an injury he sustained on the battlefield, Waylon was a man who feared death. Yet, he still managed to climb up the social ranks with the support of his family. Waylon, too, never expected to meet Josiah at Blossom Garden. Although they used to be comrades, Waylon truly disliked Josiah. Hence, he could not help but laugh when he saw Josiah. "Josiah, didn't you think the world of yourself back then? How did you end up like this?" I heard that your son even tried to kill himself by jumping off a building. Didn't you say that I didn't know how to educate my son in the past? Think hard now about who's the one who doesn't know how to educate their son." Waylon jeered. He had been annoyed with Josiah since forever, for he felt that the latter was too arrogant for the little capability he had. At the start, Josiah wanted to retort Waylon, but he soon felt that it was pointless to do that. After all, why should he waste his breath on someone like Waylon? "Excuse me," was all Josiah said before he turned to leave. However, Waylon grabbed his hand. "What's the matter? Our comrades are all in the room today, so come along and meet them. Let them see what kind of miserable state Josiah Tanner is now in." Waylon was the one who organized the reunion between the army comrades, and he finally had the chance to shine. Josiah furrowed his brows and rejected. "It's fine. I have some other things to attend to. It won't take you more than a few minutes. Come on." Waylon simply wanted to show off in front of Josiah. When the other people in the room saw no sign of Waylon returning, one of them came out, and he saw Josiah and Waylon. "Josiah, are you here for the reunion too?" "No way. He has completely forgotten about us people. Look, I asked him to say hi to you all, but he refused to come in." "Hey, Josiah, that's not nice of you. We were buddies who entrusted our lives to each other's hands. Moreover, do you know who Waylon's granddaughter is? Her boyfriend works for Mr. Tristan. I'm sure you know who Mr. Tristan is. Waylon is amazing to have found a grandson-in-law like him. We're all going to be relying on the Lacraft family in the future." Waylon's aim at the reunion was to show off his future grandson-in-law. After all, anyone who worked for Tristan would certainly be a capable individual. "Oh, is that so? That's nothing. I have something else to attend to, so I have to leave now." Is he trying to show off? Someone who works for Mr. Tristan? Is he better than Mr. Tristan himself? Waylon was irked by Josiah's dismissive attitude. "Wait, Josiah, what are you trying to do? Are you looking down on Mr. Tristan's employee? It's just someone working for Mr. Tristan, so what's there to brag about? If you want to show off, you should be showing off Mr. Tristan himself." Josiah retorted. Waylon barked out a laugh in fury. "Josiah, who do you think Mr. Tristan is?" Right then, the future grandson-in-law that Waylon had been going on about arrived. When he saw the group, he walked over. "Grandpa, what's wrong?" "It's nothing. Josiah, I know that Tanner Group's having a hard time right now. This is my future grandson-in-law. If there's anything, you can ask him for help. I'm sure he'll lend a helping hand since we used to be comrades. Hello, I'm Jimmy Sivdal. Please feel free to come to me if you need any help." Meanwhile, when Morgan realized that Josiah had taken an unusually long time for his trip to the restroom, he came out to look for him. It was then Morgan saw Waylon and the others. Old Mr. Tanner. Morgan knew how hostile Josiah and Waylon were toward each other. Thus, he immediately wondered if the group of people was cornering and bullying Josiah. "My, isn't this Morgan?" Waylon turned even haughtier upon seeing Morgan. Morgan ignored him. "Old Mr. Tanner, let's go back inside. Ms. Sophie and the others are still waiting for you." He, too, felt that it was pointless for Josiah to stoop to Waylon's level. After all, they had always been people from two different worlds. "Sophie. Josiah, I have to comment on this. Your Sophie is infamous. I'm afraid a young lady like her won't be able to get a boyfriend. I have no idea how you educate your kids and grandkids. If you can't bring yourself to teach her a lesson, why don't you send her to me? I'll teach her a lesson for you. That's none of your concern. Mind your own business." Annoyed, Josiah turned to leave again. However, Jimmy blocked his way. "What do you mean? Old Mr. Lacraft is only doing this for your sake. How can you be so ungrateful?" Right then, the other people stepped out of the room. When they saw the two in a standoff, they all chose to take Waylon's side. After all, Jimmy was one of Tristan's men. Anyone who was associated with Tristan would definitely be able to provide much help if any trouble were to arise. That's enough, Josiah. Just apologize to Waylon. We all used to fight on the same battlefield, so why must we be so aggressive toward each other? Josiah was speechless. Did I do anything wrong? Why should I apologize? That's right. As long as you apologize, I'll pretend that nothing happened today. However, don't blame me for what happens next if you refuse to apologize, Jimmy uttered. Forget it, Josiah. It's pointless to get mad at them, said one of the men who used to be on good terms with Josiah. It was better to side with Jimmy, after all. Josiah could not help but laugh in response. He never thought that he would feel how disappointing mankind could be at his age. I won't apologize. I'd like to see how you're going to destroy Tanner Group. Right as he said that, Tristan and Sophie came out of their room. The moment Sophie saw the crowd, her expression darkened. She then strode toward Josiah and noticed the angry look he had. What's going on? I thought he was only using the restroom. Why did he take such a long time? It's nothing. Let's go, Josiah said, not wanting Sophie to intervene in the matter. Oh, isn't that Sophie? You're all grown up now. I thought you'd be too embarrassed to come to Gypsdale, Waylon said ruthlessly in a mean tone. Waylon, I'm warning you now to mind your words, or else I'm not going to hold back anymore. Josiah could tolerate everything but people who commented on his precious granddaughter. How are you going to do that? Josiah, you shouldn't bluff. You should only say this if you have the ability to carry out your words. Otherwise, you'll be a clown, got it? You're going too far, Waylon. So what if he is? Jimmy immediately chimed in. If you keep spouting nonsense, I might as well make you disappear from Gypsdale. By then, Sophie understood what was going on. Clearly, the crowd was bullying her grandfather. Make the Tanner family disappear from Gypsdale? Bold words from you. Sophie hissed. Jimmy chuckled. What's the matter? Do you not believe me? I'll give you one last chance to apologize, or else I'm going to resort to force, Jimmy uttered aggressively. Have your mother never taught you how to act like a proper human being? At that moment, Sophie had finally been introduced to the world's most shameless person. Upon hearing her words, Jimmy raised his hand to hit Sophie. Nevertheless, Sophie instantly kicked him to the ground, her move swift and without hesitation. The people in the crowd used to be in the army, so they knew how terrifying her kick had been. Sophie, don't. Grandpa, we don't bully others, but we can't let others bully us either. As she spoke, she stepped on Jimmy's stomach. Say, who do you think should be apologizing right now? We came out for a nice meal, and Grandpa's mood was already bad. He's plain unlucky to have met this bunch of weirdos too, Sophie thought grumpily. Jimmy scowled when he realized a woman had kicked him to the ground. Instantly, he tried to climb back up to his feet, but he could not struggle free from her. For Christ's sake, let me go. Do you know who I am? Jimmy cried out. I don't, Sophie replied. Jimmy never thought that Sophie would actually reply to him, and for a moment, he did not even know how he should answer that. I don't know who you are, but you're going to remember who I am. My name is Sophie Tanner. Keep that in mind. I'm telling you now. I work for Mr. Tristan. He won't let you off after what you've done to me. Sophie instinctively turned toward Tristan at that. He's working for him? Really? When did his standards hit rock bottom? When Tristan, who had been standing aside and waiting for Sophie to be done with her angry outburst, heard that, he glanced at the man she was stepping on. He had no recollection of the other man at all. Can random people do terrible things in my name nowadays? Who did you say you work for again? Tristan asked. In a way, he was giving Jimmy one last chance. I work for Mr. Tristan. Are you scared? No one in Gypsdale dares to lay a finger on Mr. Tristan's employee. At that, an evil grin grew on Tristan's lips. It sounds like Mr. Tristan's quite the big shot. Of course. Hurry up and let go of me before getting on your knees to apologize. If you kneel before me and say you're sorry, I'll overlook this matter," Jimmy boldly said. Sophie could not help but laugh at that. Then, she gave him another kick in the stomach. "What's the matter, boy? Are you still sleepwalking? Apologize to you? Do you think you're worthy of that?" Jimmy was drenched in a cold sweat due to the agony after Sophie booted his stomach. "Hurry up and let go of him. If you continue to behave this way, I will call the cops." Waylon was someone who picked on the weak and feared the strong. Therefore, he did not dare to do anything foolish when he saw how formidable Sophie was. "Call the cops? Ha!" Sophie could not help but sneer. "Sure. I'll stay here and wait for you to call the cops." Jimmy immediately felt anxious when he heard about Waylon's threat of summoning the police. "Let's forget about this, old Mr. Lackraft." Waylon frowned. "How can we let this slide when others are brazenly bullying us? Jimmy, I want you to ask for Mr. Tristan's help at once. This time, we must show them the consequences." Waylon felt extremely embarrassed at that moment because he had praised and flaunted his grandson-in-law's capabilities. Yet, Jimmy's response was no different from a slap to his face. Waylon was not one who could endure such humiliation. "That's right. Why don't you call Mr. Tristan directly? I've never seen an influential figure like him before, so I am yearning to meet with him," Sophie said with a grin. Anyone who knew Sophie would recognize the smile she wore at that instant would only be present when she was at the peak of her anger. Jimmy took out his phone but did not dare to make the call. He was able to become Waylon's grandson-in-law because he had been faking himself as Tristan's subordinate. If they knew he was a fraud at that moment, putting aside Sophie and the others, Jimmy reckoned even the Lackraft family would not let him off the hook. He had almost fallen for his own deceit, believing his lies to be true after bluffing the others for so long. Nevertheless, something fake could never become a reality. "What's the matter? Do you not know his phone number? Should I give his contact details to you?" she mocked. "Missy, I think there has to be some sort of misunderstanding. Why don't you let go of me first? This is making me look bad." "Misunderstanding? What misunderstanding could there possibly be? Let me tell you. I despise you," Sophie uttered domineeringly. "You?" Jimmy was enraged. "They are not afraid of Mr. Tristan at all. I don't have any tricks left up my sleeve." "Josiah, are you seeing this? Your granddaughter is behaving like a thug. She'll have a tough time finding a man who can accept her violent character. Hurry up and tell her to let Jimmy go." Josiah smiled contemptuously. They are still unaware of their errors even up until now, yet they dare to criticize Sophie in front of me. This is Sophie's personality, and I think she's doing fine. It is better for her to be like a thug than to let others bully her. Given a choice between intimidating others or getting intimidated by others, I will gladly pick the former. "You?" Waylon was fuming. "Your whole family is thug-like and incorrigible. Apologize. If you apologize now, I'll forget this has ever happened." Sophie remained calm as always. "I'm sorry. I was wrong." Waylon's face turned grim when he heard Jimmy apologizing as Sophie demanded. "Is this the Jimmy I've been commending so much just now? You shouldn't be apologizing to me." She did not require his apology. Instead, he should be apologizing to her grandpa. "Sir, I'm sorry. I was wrong." Josiah was too lazy to be bothered by Jimmy and was not at all concerned by a plaster saint like the latter. "Forget it. Let's go," Josiah said to Sophie. Only then did she let go of Jimmy. "You should steer clear of members of the Tanner family from now on. Otherwise, you'll end up in a sorrier state than today. Also, old Mr. Lackraft, I'm afraid your grandson-in-law is fooling you. He's not Mr. Tristan's subordinate." Waylon was stumped as he looked at Jimmy in disbelief. "What do you mean? Do you think Mr. Tristan will let you off the hook by saying that?" Waylon had yet to wrap his mind around the whole situation. "Explain it yourself." Sophie glanced at Jimmy. He was caught in a dilemma, but under her piercing gaze, he had no other choice but to give in. It seems like this is the end of my deceit. Old Mr. Lacraft, I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to lie to you, but I like Xena too much, which is why Waylon almost passed out while listening to Jimmy's words. So, he's really a fraud? I can't believe he hoodwinked my entire family. You, old Mr. Lacraft, I'm truly in love with Xena. You must give me a chance. Besides, Xena is already pregnant with my child. You. Waylon felt utterly ashamed at that instant. Ha! Josiah could not resist his urge to sneer. You're right. I failed to educate my granddaughter. Waylon, you certainly raised your granddaughter well. His granddaughter became pregnant before getting married, and with a con man, no less. Waylon felt his cheeks burn as he listened to Josiah's sarcastic remark. In place of the vainglory Waylon had before, right now, there was only shame. Waylon kicked Jimmy and fell backward onto the floor because of the recoil. At that moment, he appeared more pathetic than ever. Oh, by the way, I forgot to introduce you all. This is Ms. Sophie's boyfriend. He is also the famous Mr. Tristan you've been talking about earlier. Before leaving, Morgan deliberately delivered a final blow to Waylon and Jimmy's already crushed spirits. Both of them were dumbfounded and rendered speechless. What? This man with an extraordinary presence is Mr. Tristan? Let's go, old Mr. Tanner. Tristan walked over and supported Josiah. Tristan thought Waylon and Jimmy were looking sufficiently miserable, so there was no need for him to take further action. Waylon and Jimmy watched Sophie and the others leave without daring to make a sound. Is that person really Mr. Tristan? Why would Mr. Tristan be with Sophie, a girl with such a terrible reputation? However, as none of them had ever seen Tristan in person, they did not dare to contradict Morgan's statement. Waylon, we've got some things to do, and since we've had our meal, we shall take our leave now. Also, this Jimmy is trying to pull a marriage scam. Report him to the police if you do not have a better way of dealing with him. Waylon could not make up his mind at that instant. Jimmy immediately hugged Waylon's thigh. Old Mr. Lacraft, I'm genuinely in love with Xena. Since she's already carrying my child, please allow us to stay together. Feeling embarrassed, Waylon booted the sham away. Just you wait, Jimmy. Let me tell you now. Your days ahead are going to be tough. With that, Waylon fled the scene as quickly as he could. Tristan led the others to his car and personally sent Josiah back. Upon arriving at the Tanner residence, Tristan stayed for a while to chat with Josiah. Tanny, don't take it to heart about what happened today. Josiah was already used to the realistic society where toadying to influential figures and bullying those who were vulnerable had become a norm. Don't worry, old Mr. Tanner. I will not allow anyone to harm Sophie. Okay. All Josiah wanted was to receive reassurance from Tristan. After exiting Josiah's room, Tristan noticed Sophie waiting for him in the corridor. May I visit your room? Although that was not his first time at the Tanner residence, he had never entered her room. Sure. Sophie was not hiding any secrets in her room, so she was not afraid of letting him in. Nonetheless, it was never Tristan's intention to discover her secrets. Sophie's room was not very big. Her room had only a king-size bed, a computer desk, and a wardrobe. She did not even have a dressing table. As Sophie had rarely returned home, her room was clean and tidy. She sat on the swivel chair and gazed at him. Tristan saw an album and reached out to grab it. Can I take a look at this? Sure. He sat on the bed, opened the album, and browsed through pictures of Sophie from her childhood until now. He flipped through every page and took in the pictures depicting her growth from a baby to the beautiful teenage girl she was at that moment. Staring at those images, Tristan felt as if he had accompanied her as she grew up. Come here, he said to her while he remained seated on the bed. What's the matter? Come here. Before she realized it, his seductive voice prompted her to get to her feet and walk up to him. Tristan pulled her into his embrace so that they could look at the pictures together. I can't believe this used to be your style. He pointed at a photo of Sophie in pigtails. She glanced at him. Why? Is there a problem with that? No. You look very adorable. Tristan's mind wandered. If we have a daughter in the future, I suppose she will be as cute as Sophie. After all, Sophie has excellent genes. I have no doubt her child will be very good-looking. Sophie turned her head around and noticed the contented smile on his face. What? What are you thinking about? I'm just imagining if we have a daughter together in the future, she must be as cute as you, Tristan replied frankly. He wanted to let her know that he was serious about her and that he had included her in his future planning. Sophie was stumped. Giving birth to a child? To be honest, that thought had never crossed her mind up until that point. She was uncertain if someone like her would be a good mother because she did not know how to handle children. Mr. Tristan, I don't want to have kids. If he's looking for a partner with whom he can get married and have children, I don't think I am a suitable candidate. I don't want to waste his time if that's the case. You don't like children? Tristan was not very fond of children, but he thought he would cherish the child dearly if they were Sophie's. I don't know how to put it either. I think I'm not suitable to become a mother. That's enough. We'll discuss this topic another day. You're still young, so it is normal for you not to like kids now. What if I still do not like them in the future? Then we won't have children. I don't need to have kids. Having you by my side is already sufficient. Tristan was not merely coaxing her. If Sophie did not want to have kids, he would respect her decision instead of forcing her to bear his child. When they exited Sophie's room, they stumbled into Willow. Willow could not help but sneer at the sight of Tristan coming out from Sophie's room. Weren't you acting high and mighty all the time? Well, you're certainly living up to your reputation now, Sophie. I can't believe you just brought a man into your room. Sophie disregarded Willow and led Tristan away. When they arrived at the living room, he stopped in his tracks. You will be attending Transfix Cosmetics' anniversary event tomorrow, right? Yes. How did he know about that? I don't recall telling anyone else about this matter. Wilma sent me an invitation. Sophie was rendered speechless. Why is he going to Transfix Cosmetics' anniversary event? Why did Wilma send him an invitation? Therefore, I'll come pick you up tomorrow. Fortunately, he was able to attend the occasion tomorrow because Lombard Group's anniversary event was on a different date. And the reason would be that Tristan had deliberately arranged for both companies to host their anniversary events on separate dates. All right then. Since Wilma had sent him an invitation, Sophie had no reason to forbid him from attending. Be careful on your way back. She wanted to follow him out, but he did not allow her to do so because of the cold weather outside. All right. Rest early. After Tristan left the Tanner residence, Sophie turned around and immediately caught sight of Willow, standing behind her like a ghost, wearing a white dress. Stand aside. Sophie lacked the patience to spend another second talking to Willow. Sophie, don't you always think you're better than everyone else? What's the matter? How shameless are you to let a man enter your room now? Do you really think Mr. Tristan loves you? He's just toying with you. Have you even met with his family members? There's no way the Lombard family will accept someone like you. Sophie frowned. That's none of your business. Since when does Willow care about my matters? You can also do the same if you have the capabilities. However, the reason you're so agitated is that you're jealous. Do you realize that? Willow was rendered speechless. Willow took a step back. Sophie had always chosen to ignore her, but the latter's words were unexpectedly harsh and unforgiving when she decided to speak up. Do you have any other questions for me? Sophie stared into Willow's eyes. Willow was stumped. Moments later she said, "What about Mason? Do you not love him anymore?" Sophie fell silent. How long has it been since I last heard this name? I've never loved him. With that said, will you return to Mason's side in assurance now? Willow still felt aggrieved at the mention of Mason. However, she thought he was no longer a match for her. What's the matter? Are you disdaining him because he went lame? Aren't you always putting up an obedient and sensible act? Why don't you continue to play that role now? I certainly wish Mason would fall for me, but I've worked so hard, yearning and waiting to be with him for such a long time, and to no avail. What else can I do if he doesn't want to reciprocate my feelings? Who are you all to criticize me now? I've shown my efforts, haven't I? Are my teenage years not as worthy as others' teenage years? No one is criticizing you, and I could not care less about you. With that, Sophie headed upstairs right away. Willow crouched on the floor and burst into tears. Why? Why am I the only one without anything to show, even until now? I did not do anything wrong, right? Sophie returned to her room, and just as she lay on her bed, the ring on her ring finger emitted a strange light. Looking at the ring, she was reminded of Nicholas again. Why isn't he giving up? Have I not made myself clear? Still, Sophie was no longer the innocent and ignorant young girl she was. One day, even if Nicholas managed to locate her, she already had the confidence to handle him. She had no doubt about her abilities. Sophie promised herself never to let anyone control how she lived her life, not even Nicholas. Meanwhile, at Anglander, Nicholas was listening to his subordinate's report in a relaxed manner. Boss, Sophie is in Gypsdale, but you are also aware that Gypsdale is Tristan's territory. If we go there without a plan, I'm afraid. Afraid? Nicholas lay on the chair and flashed a wicked grin. How dare you mention this word to me as my assistant? I see. So, she's in Gypsdale. I was wondering how someone could disappear without a trace on this earth. This is why. Boss, I'm not saying that I'm afraid of Tristan or scared of death, but despite our influence here in Anglander, we'll be in Tristan's territory once we step foot in Gypsdale. If we head over there without a plan, things will become tricky for us. Nicholas' assistant, Quentin Schmidt, felt rather helpless serving his employer. It is so difficult to work as his assistant. Quentin, what is there to plan regarding this matter? How will Tristan know if I go there by myself? I'm Nicholas Sable, after all. What will Tristan do to me if I'm just visiting Gypsdale to meet someone? Boss. Quentin did not dare to tell Nicholas that Tristan was also interested in Sophie, and that they seemed to have become a couple. I can't imagine what would happen if Boss is informed of that matter. That's enough. I'm getting tired. You can leave now. I'll make the arrangements on my own for this trip to Gypsdale, and you don't have to tag along by then. It's almost Christmas. I'll go to Gypsdale and keep her company during this festive season. I suppose she'll be very surprised to see me. Nicholas could not fathom his own state of mind either. All he knew was that he must not allow Sophie to leave his side despite knowing he would not be able to marry her. After all, no one in the Sable family would agree for him to marry her due to the disparity between their family backgrounds. Therefore, Nicholas had never thought of marrying Sophie too. Still, even if he became married in the future, he thought that would not be a factor prohibiting him from keeping her by his side. Quentin could only shake his head while he stared at the gorgeous man reclining in the chair. How can I let him go to Gypsdale alone? What if something terrible befalls him there? Old Mr. Sable will inflict his wrath on the entire Chon-Aea. If that happens, there will be so many casualties. Boss is old Mr. Sable's only son, so he would never allow anything bad to happen to Boss. How should I establish contact with Sophie so I can inform her Boss is planning to meet with her? Sophie is such a troublemaker. Quentin had always wished for Sophie to die at a young age, as her death would save him plenty of trouble. Regrettably, she was blessed with a long life. He was amazed that she managed to stay alive even after everything she had experienced. The following day at 5 o'clock in the evening, Tristan arrived at the Tanner residence to pick Sophie up. When Caleb saw Tristan, he immediately got to his feet, wanting to greet the latter. However, Tristan's overwhelming aura caused Caleb to hesitate for a few moments, and amidst his pausing, Tristan had already gone upstairs to find Sophie. Taking in Caleb's demeanor, Willow could not help but mock him. "Caleb, are you thinking of buttering Mr. Tristan up too?" Ever since Caleb knew of Sophie and Tristan's relationship, Caleb began treating his sister very differently from before. What nonsense are you talking about? Mr. Tristan will be displeased if he hears you. Although discomfort boiled within Willow, there was nothing she could do about it. That man was Tristan, after all. Provoking him would be no different from courting death. As a result, regardless of how much Willow hated Sophie, she did not dare to harm the latter now. Willow merely hoped Tristan would get tired of Sophie as soon as possible. As long as Mr. Tristan no longer cares about Sophie, I'll be able to take advantage of the situation. Don't tell me Sophie really thinks Mr. Tristan is serious about being with a girl like her. As Tristan and Sophie came downstairs, they formed a picture-perfect scene as both were very good-looking and appeared like a match made in heaven. Josiah's mind was filled with compliments to the couple when he saw them together. The old man was genuinely satisfied with Tristan, but his only dissatisfaction and concern was Tristan's overly prominent social status. Aside from that, Tristan was as perfect as a man could be. Grandpa, I'll be leaving then. Sophie dressed beautifully that day. Josiah had deliberately asked someone to prepare that dress for her. Okay. Go ahead. Transfix Cosmetics' recent performance has been outstanding. You should really express your gratitude to the company's employees. Don't worry, Grandpa. I know what to do. Grandpa, can I follow Sophie to the event to look around? Caleb piped up. Josiah glanced at Caleb dubiously as he reckoned the latter was only doing that because of Tristan. Everyone in Gypsdale was well aware of Tristan's competency. If that was indeed Caleb's motivation, Josiah would be utterly displeased. Grandpa, I want to go too. Since Transfix Cosmetics is so successful now, their employees must be outstanding. I want to go there to learn something too. Willow was not letting that opportunity slip. Transfix Cosmetics' current achievements are made possible because of Sophie. Transfix Cosmetics would have met its demise long ago if it wasn't for Sophie. Willow fell silent after listening to Josiah's remark. Grandpa is really seizing every chance to praise Sophie. She's just lucky. It's not like it's a big deal. Go ahead and attend if you want. This is just an anniversary event. I've never seen you two express interest in visiting the company previously, yet you're so excited to participate now. Let's go. Sophie did not have any objection. Having said that, Willow and Caleb would have to drive there on their own because Sophie did not enjoy their company. Tristan hummed a response before stretching out his hand. Sophie linked arms with him and they left the house together. At the sight of the couple leaving together, bitterness surged within Willow's chest. Tristan, influential and affluent, was the epitome of a successful man. Any woman would yearn to be with him, and Willow was no exception. Unfortunately, he was exceptionally indifferent toward her and had never given her the slightest chance to approach him. Willow, didn't you say you want to tag along? Let's go. Caleb wanted to find opportunities to spend more alone time with Tristan. Currently, Caleb's mentor was managing a huge project, and multiple researchers were competing for the limited spots. However, as Caleb was not the most excellent among his peers, he would have to pay some additional price if he wanted to participate in that project. Incidentally, his mentor had always mentioned Tristan. Caleb thought since his mentor was a great admirer of Tristan, the opportunity to join the project would be his if Tristan could recommend him to his mentor. Hence, Caleb was determined to attend the anniversary event with Tristan and Sophie that day. Otherwise, regardless of how accomplished Transfix Cosmetics might be, he would not have the slightest interest in the company's matters. Just as Tristan's car pulled up at the event venue, Sophie immediately noticed Wilma. Wilma was wearing an exquisite evening gown, and she had been waiting outside the whole time. Sophie wondered how long she had stood there. Tristan handed his car keys to the parking valet before placing his hand around Sophie's shoulder. They both walked over together. Didn't I tell you to wait inside? Why are you standing outside? It's so cold out here. You'll catch a cold. Miss Sophie, I just came out. Wilma wanted to guide Sophie to the venue because she did not want the latter to lose her way inside the building. Although Sophie disagreed with Wilma's action, She did not comment further after seeing how long Wilma had waited for them outside, judging by how pale and cold Wilma's arms had become. Instead, Sophie quickly steered Wilma into the building. "Miss Sophie, everyone is very happy that you're here." Sophie's prowess had earned her everyone's respect and admiration. They all hoped to be in the same room as her. "Yes. I'm delighted to be able to take part in this anniversary event with everyone too." Wilma led them both inside. When the others saw Sophie and Tristan arriving, they quietened down immediately. "Are they a little afraid of me?" Tristan whispered into Sophie's ear. The way they were sharing a secret conversation with each other made everyone envious. "These two are quite the perfect couple. Ms. Sophie's boyfriend is really hot." "I know, right? They're like straight out of a romantic drama. How I wish I have a boyfriend like that." Naturally, Wilma heard all those comments, and she agreed with them all. No matter where Sophie went, she was, inevitably, the star of the show. "All right, everyone, let's not crowd around here. Go and have a good time." Only when Wilma said this did the girls leave reluctantly. Tristan and Sophie settled down on the couch at one side of the hall. Not long after that, Caleb arrived with Willow. There was hardly any reaction from the staff of Transfix Cosmetics to the arrival of these two. Of course, they knew who these two people were, but they were just not interested. Willow was upset when she noticed their attitude. "I'm the heiress of Transfix Cosmetics. Caleb, just look at their attitude. They were so friendly and enthusiastic toward Sophie, but they ignored us when we arrived. Don't you think something is off? Sophie must have said something to them." Caleb frowned. "Sophie's the one who's fighting alongside them, so it's only natural that they admire her. Stop overreacting, okay?" All he wanted was to get Tristan's help, so he couldn't be bothered to heed Willow's complaints. Most importantly, he did not mind how those people treated him at all. Caleb and Willow went and sat down next to Sophie and Tristan. Tristan and Sophie were engaged in a conversation, but Tristan seemed to be doing most of the talking. Sophie would occasionally nod or give a perfunctory reply. Within 10 minutes of his arrival, Caleb could tell that Tristan tolerated Sophie very much. "Are you hungry?" Sophie shook her head. She didn't feel hungry at all at that moment. "Are you thirsty?" Words eluded Willow. Sophie is no longer a child. Does he really need to look after her like this? Willow was green with envy. What happened to Mr. Tristan? I can't believe someone as elegant and charming as Mr. Tristan is pampering Sophie. This made Willow more jealous than ever. "Mr. Tristan, are you interested in the Research Institute in Anglander?" Caleb could no longer suppress his impatience after sitting quietly for a long while. He finally spoke up. His motive for coming here today was obvious. When he spoke, Sophie could not help glancing at him. She had been wondering why he insisted on attending the annual gathering of Transfix Cosmetics. Caleb was only concerned about the Research Institute and had no interest whatsoever in the affairs of Tanner Group. It turns out that he is here for Tristan. Tristan held Sophie's hand tight. "No, I'm not interested." Tristan was only polite for Sophie's sake. He showed much respect for Josiah, who treated Sophie well. However, he showed no respect at all for Caleb and Willow, who obviously did not care much about Sophie. Caleb had prepared quite a speech to persuade Tristan. Unfortunately, when Tristan said he was not interested, all of Caleb's preparation had gone to waste. Caleb glanced at Sophie, who blatantly ignored him as if he wasn't even there. She didn't speak up for him. When Wilma came over and invited Sophie to do a lucky draw, the latter left with her. Sensing the tense atmosphere, Caleb excused himself and went to the restroom. Only Tristan and Willow were left on the couch. Willow could not help stealing glances at Tristan. Ever since Sophie left, the man had been checking his phone continuously, seemingly chatting with someone. Willow had always felt that she was in no way inferior to Sophie. Furthermore, at this moment, an idea was forming in her mind. If Tristan becomes my boyfriend, Sophie will go through much suffering. All this while, Sophie had been bullying me. This is my chance. Thus, Willow began posing seductively, trying to capture Tristan's attention. She purposefully pulled up her skirt to the extent that her underwear could be seen. The staff of Transfix Cosmetics nearby watched her antics and thought she was a disgrace to all women. Look at her displaying her legs. Does she think that her legs are beautiful? That's right. Those legs look like an elephant's legs. I can't believe she had the audacity to show them. The crux of the matter now is that she is trying to steal Ms. Sophie's boyfriend. Wendy, who was watching nearby, became very angry. Willow is really too much. Let it go, Wendy. After all, she is Ms. Sophie's sister. Wendy could not bear it anymore. She brought a glass of red wine over to the couch. Then, she accidentally spilled the glass of red wine all over Willow's body. I'm sorry, Ms. Willow. I slipped. Wendy acted rashly on impulse. Therefore, when she saw the murderous look in Willow's eyes, she was frightened. Willow was just about to throw a tantrum when she remembered that Tristan was seated right next to her. She held back her temper. I mustn't get angry. I mustn't. Mr. Tristan, my clothes are wet. Can I borrow your coat? Willow's tearful expression was quite a revolting sight to behold. Wendy, who was afraid just now, no longer felt scared after seeing how pretentiously she behaved. Tristan finally looked up. However, he walked away after merely sparing her a glance. Mr. Tristan. Willow was about to say something else when she saw Tristan walk over to the stage and carefully help Sophie down the stairs. The care and caution that he exercised while doing that made Willow so jealous that she gritted her teeth, seething with rage. Tristan then took Sophie outside for some fresh air. What are you staring at? Do you know how much this dress costs? Do you think you can pay for it? Willow vented her anger on Wendy. I'm sorry, Ms. Willow. It was really an accident. Scared, Wendy kept retreating. However, Willow was not about to let her off. She approached and grasped Wendy's pigtail. Answer me. Did Sophie ask you to do it? She slipped. Does she think I'll believe that? When Wilma saw Wendy being bullied, she quickly came over. Calm down, Ms. Willow. Let's talk things through reasonably. Wilma frowned. We didn't invite Willow, yet she still showed up uninvited. To make matters worse, she even bullied my staff. Wilma, you're just in time. This subordinate of yours splashed red wine all over me on purpose. I'm not asking her to pay for this dress because she looks miserly. She can't afford to compensate me, anyway. I want you to sack her instantly and I'll consider the matter settled. Ms. Leinker, Wendy panicked when she heard that. She really liked this job. Ms. Willow, it's all my fault. I beg you to please let me off. I didn't do it on purpose. Willow raised her hand and gave Wendy a slap right across her face. I dare you to say that again. Blood dripped from the corner of Wendy's lips. Willow didn't hold back at all. Wilma instantly caught hold of Willow's hand when the latter was about to land another slap on Wendy's face. It's Transfix Cosmetics' annual event today, Ms. Willow. If Ms. Sophie finds out. Wilma trailed off. Willow sneered. Trying to threaten me with Sophie? Do you think I'm scared of her? Wilma frowned. It's going to be hard dealing with Ms. Willow without Ms. Sophie around. I said fire her or else. Caleb heard the commotion. When he came to see what was going on, he saw Willow making an unreasonable demand. A frown appeared on his brows. I take my eyes off them for 2 seconds. And this happens? What's going on, Willow? Caleb, this lowly employee won't even listen to me. Unbelievable. Willow teared up. She obviously did it on purpose. A simple apology isn't enough. Caleb sighed. Enough. Willow, calm down. I'm sorry, Ms. Willow. I'm really sorry. Please have mercy on me. Wendy was in tears right now. She didn't mean what she did to Willow. That was just something she did on the spur of the moment. That's enough. Wear this, Willow. Caleb took his suit jacket off and draped it over her. Tristan and Sophie came back just in time to see this. Sophie approached the scene. "What happened?" she asked. Wendy cried even harder the moment she saw Sophie. "You're behind this, aren't you, Sophie? You hate me, so you told her to splash that wine on me." The more Willow talked, the angrier she was. "How could they do this to me?" Sophie gave her a look that said, "Are you mad? What are you, mad? Shut up and go home. This is an office. We still don't know whose fault this is. Can you be nicer to her?" Caleb chided. "Can't you see she's crying?" Tristan looked at him. "What happened?" he asked, and everyone quieted down. "Ms. Sophie didn't tell me to do anything. I just got angry seeing Ms. Willow trying to seduce Ms. Sophie's boyfriend, so I splashed her with wine." Wendy decided to step up for the woman who had given them so much. "I won't let anyone slander her." "Why, you little..." Willow felt like she could have a heart attack at any moment. The other ladies nodded in agreement. "Yeah, we saw it too." While Ms. Sophie was drawing the prizes for everyone, Ms. Willow kept showing off her skin to Ms. Sophie's boyfriend, but he didn't even spare her a look. Soon, everyone else chimed in as well. "We saw it too. Yeah. Trying to steal your own sister's boyfriend is despicable. I can't believe she'd do this." The more they spoke up, the paler Willow's face became. "That's a lie." "They're lying, Caleb. I didn't do anything." She looked to Caleb for help, but he shook his head. Apparently, he didn't believe her at all. "All right, that's it. We're going home." It was embarrassing to find out that his sisters were fighting over one man. "You're leaving?" "After she hit someone," Sophie blurted coldly. Caleb's brows knitted together. "We're not gonna talk about this anymore. I know Willow's at fault, but your employee's partly responsible too. And we're your family." "She's not." "I'm fine, Ms. Sophie. This is partly my responsibility too." Wendy felt a little ashamed of herself since she didn't mean to cause Sophie any trouble. "Apologize," Sophie said coldly. "Nobody told them to come. They came uninvited and tried to bully my employee. That is something I won't stand for." "No, I won't apologize," Willow snapped. "I will not apologize to that lowly peasant." "Sophie." Caleb was incredulous. "She's your sister. Don't make me repeat myself." Sophie shot Willow a look, and the arrogant woman hid behind her brother. "Willow, you did slap her. An apology is nothing. It's expected." Caleb had to say that since Wendy was bleeding from what Willow had done to her. Rage filled Willow's heart, and she uttered reluctantly, "I'm sorry." Everyone was starting to gossip about her, and she had no plans of being an exhibition for their entertainment. "I'm sorry too, Ms. Willow, but please never seduce Ms. Sophie's boyfriend again." "God damn it." Willow was speechless. "She's saying that on purpose, isn't she?" Wilma nudged Wendy's arm, telling her to stop talking. At the end of the day, Willow was still Sophie's sister, and Wendy would make things worse for the family if she kept talking. Wendy finally shut up. "You may leave now." Sophie chased them away immediately. They would have been denied entrance if not for Josiah's sake, but they took that kindness and trampled all over it like they usually did. A sigh escaped Caleb's lips, and he took Willow away. Only Sophie, Tristan, and Transfix Cosmetics employees were left. Wendy quickly bowed to Sophie. "I'm really, really sorry, Ms. Sophie. I didn't mean to put you in a tough spot." Her brain felt like it short-circuited for a moment, and she couldn't hold back from splashing Willow with wine. "It's water under the bridge now, but don't do anything like that again, Wendy. I don't want to see you get hurt." Sophie didn't lecture Wendy, as she did that all for her sake after all. "Yes." Wendy was too ashamed to even look at Sophie. "You guys go on ahead. I'll be going home now." "Are you sure you're all right, Ms. Sophie?" Wilma was still worried about her. "I'm fine. Just calm everyone down and tell them to have a good time. The new year is drawing near. No need to sour their mood over something so trivial. Of course, Ms. Sophie. I'll give Wendy an earful. I'll make sure she doesn't act impulsively next time. Don't lecture her. She's already scared enough as is. Willow is still a terrifying woman when she wants to be. They exited the venue, and Tristan held the car's door open for her. Why are you looking at me? I need consolation. Tristan held her hand. For what? I can't believe a witch like Willow was trying to seduce me. Do you know how scary that was? Huh. I thought you were looking forward to it. You're a guy, aren't you? I'm not like other guys, so how am I supposed to know what they think? Personally, I don't like any other women. Sophie nodded. She had no reason not to believe him, as he would have slept with all kinds of women if he wanted to. Those women would kill to have that chance. Tristan pulled her into his embrace. Now give me some sugar and delete that horrible memory from my mind. I can feel the nightmare fuel tank filling up. Wait. So you're saying she actually tried to seduce you? Tristan tried to remember what Willow had done. Yes, Willow was right beside him at the party, but he didn't even talk to her. What she did wasn't of interest to him. I think so. I don't think Wendy and the girls would lie. Wait, so you don't know what she did? You weren't even paying attention.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.